Oh, you hear the wind?
Why?
All of a sudden, the wind picked up.
No wind?
The wind.
It's too much?
No, but I hear it.
Yeah.
It's howling.
I did that too. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. We have come to another Shabbat. So whatever was going on this week, it's time for us to try to make some space inside our souls and inside our hearts for Shabbat rest and peace. So if you'd like to take a moment just to breathe. If there's tension somewhere in your body, on the exhale, you can see if you can relax that part of your body. If you need to stretch or shake anything out.
Do is take off my shoes.
You could take off your shoes.
Just what I'm doing.
I know, I heard you. I'm going to mute everybody. All right, I'm going to share our prayer book to the screen. This week, as it is the first Shabbat evening of the month, we are including a Torah service in our evening service. So I hope that folks will be pleased to hear some Torah this evening. We are going to begin on page 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Is there anyone who would like to do the blessing over the candles today? Whether you have candles at home or, oh, Helene would like to do it. Excellent. Let me light the candles here. If you'd like to do the reading, Helene.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'had l'kner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Go ahead.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Helene. We turn now to the Kiddush, page 123, and I'd like to invite Eric Platt to come to the Bima.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot in love and favor. You made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance.
If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon hidchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו וחטא, יתנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 138 for Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמוע וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי ברכו מאורי, אורי, אורי שתדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ויהי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
The Baruch Hu is on page 146. I invite you to rise if you're able or remain standing. On page 149, I invite you to read with me. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
The Shema is on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וגשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו כתובות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 157, I invite you to read with me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158.
מי כמוך באילם אדוני, מי כמוך נידע בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסיף אלי. מי כמוך באילם אדוני, מי כמוך נידע בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסיף אלי. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי, ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באילם אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסיף אלי.
Hashkivenu is on page 160.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. V'ha'amidenu shomerenu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Page 162 is Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The tefillah begins on page 164. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
אדוני, שפתי תפתח ופיה כי תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohi avoteinu ve'emoteinu, Elohi Avraham, Elohi Yitzchak, Elohi Yaakov, Elohi Sarah, Elohi Rivka, Elohi Rachel ve'Elohi Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר, משיח מגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיי ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Page 172, I think. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Please join me. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant as your heritage our holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your name may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We have come to our blessing of gratitude. And so I would like to invite anyone who is feeling grateful for something today to share that with us. If you're on Zoom, you can put it in the chat or share it out loud. And of course, in the room, you can share it out loud too. Diane Schenker.
Today is my daughter's 67th birthday. I can't
Wow.
believe I have such an old kid.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Mazal tov.
Thank you.
Freema.
Well, I am grateful that last week I went to my niece's house in Long Island and I spent time with them, and the brothers are not here. They're one is in college, one is in Israel. So I spent time with my little great niece Sahaba, who we did a lot of arts and crafts with, and it was really great just to talk to her and see what she's up to as a 15-year-old. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
All right. Modim anachnu lach. In the chat, Patricia is grateful that spring is coming. Lori Pandolfo, there were good outcomes from 2 surgeries in the family. Modim anachnu lach. Charlotte fell, but she's grateful because she didn't break anything. We're grateful for that too, Charlotte. Elaine Sarfati is grateful to be with friends to celebrate birthdays at the New York Historical Society. And Karen is grateful to have known her dear friend, Elliot Woofsey, for 25 years. He died on Wednesday. Mary Lou?
I'm grateful for this wonderful, wonderful service. It's so moving and inspiring. Thank you. And I'm grateful for the technology that keeps us together so we can all be with one another in one way or another. I'm grateful also for special connections with friends I already have. It just seems that things just came into place. Odds and ends of things all came together through minor efforts of all of us. It was wonderful. So thank you for this special service.
Amen. Helene is also grateful that Charlotte didn't break anything. Anyone here in the room? Alan? Wow. February 22nd, you say? They celebrated Maddie Greenbaum's 94th birthday. Great. Anyone else who's here?
I'll give my grateful news that it's not always that both my children are happy in the same week, but Emily had nice news that she was chosen as the soprano soloist for the Carmel Bach Summer Festival, which is a pretty big deal, and she gets to spend the summer in California in Carmel. And then Aaron, who wasn't so happy last week, found out that he got into Yale for his master's degree in the Yale School of Forestry. So he was very, very happy. So good news for this week for the Donato children.
Yeah, mazal tov to both of them, and modim anachnu lach. Robert is grateful for Purim. Eslin is grateful for the members of the poetry group who bring wonderful insight each week. And Elaine Sarfati says Mazal Tov to Maddie and to your kids. I am grateful for all of the folks who came out to be involved in the Purim spiel. It's going to be a lot of fun on Monday. Oh, sorry. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Shalom Rav is on page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Lamacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Lamacha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Lamacha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Lamacha Tasim leolam. V'tov b'yinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We come now to our quiet prayer. There are words on pages 180 and 181. If you have a prayer book, if you can see the screen, there are words on the screen, but we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
יהיו לרצון, יהיו לרצון, יהיו לרצון, אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Amen.
We've come to our Torah service beginning on page 362. And so if you're able, I'd like to invite you to rise.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אף הרחמים היטיבה וצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד פתחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא אדוני עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, דבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, אחד אלוהינו גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו.
גדלו לאדוני איתי ונרוממה שמו יחדיו.
לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח והכבוד, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש.
You may be seated. Oh, I don't quite have where the Torah portion is. Hang on a sec. It should be easy to find. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Fine, okay.
All right. So for our Aliyah to the Torah this evening, Ya'amod. Alan? What's your Hebrew name? What? Avel? Abba. Abba Ben? Herman. Okay.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacha banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay, so for anybody who has a Plout commentary, the text is on page 618. And we have a bar mitzvah tomorrow. So I have been learning this Torah portion for a long time. Ve'ata tetzaveh et bnei Yisrael vayikhu elecha shemen zayit zach katit lamaor להעלות תמיד באוהל מועד מחוץ לפרוכת אשר על העדות יערוך אותו אהרון ובניו מערב עד בוקר לפני אדוני חוקת עולם לדורותם מאת בני ישראל ואתה תקרב אליך את אהרון אחיך ואת בניו איתו מתוך בני ישראל לכהנו לי אהרון נדב ואביהו אלעזר ואיתמר בני אהרון ועשית בגדי קודש לאהרון אחיך לכבוד ולתפארת ואתה תדבר אל כל חכמי לב אשר מילאתיו רוח חוכמה ועשו את בגדי אהרון לקודשו לכהנו לי ואלה הבגדים אשר יעשו חושן ואפוד ומעיל וכתונת תשבץ מצנפת ואבנת ועשו בגדי קודש לאהרון אחיך לכבוד ולבניו לכהנו לי והם ייקחו את זהב ואת התכלת ואת הארגמן ואת תולעת השני ואת השש.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam, nota b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
It got really cold out.
So in the English, you shall further instruct the Israelites to bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling lamps regularly. Aaron and his sons shall set them up in the tent of meeting outside the curtain, which is over the pact, to burn from evening to morning before the Eternal. It shall be a dew from the Israelites for all time throughout the ages. You shall bring forward your brother Aaron with his sons from among the Israelites to serve me as priests. Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu, Eleazar, and Itamar, the sons of Aaron. Make sacral vestments for your brother Aaron for dignity and adornment. Next, you shall instruct all who are skillful, whom I have endowed with the gift of skill, to make Aaron's vestments for consecrating him to serve me as priest. These are the vestments they are to make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a fringed tunic, a headdress, and a sash. They shall make those sacral vestments for your brother Aaron and his sons, for priestly service to me. They therefore shall receive the gold, the blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and the fine linen. And I just realized that I was not supposed to read that there was somebody else who was supposed to read that. And Diane Figueroa is like, yes, you made a mistake. So my apologies to, who am I apologizing to? Is it Judith? Is it you? I'm so
Yes.
sorry, Judith. That
It's
was my
okay.
bad. I'm so sorry. Next
Okay.
time, I'll make
Okay.
sure you get to read it.
Thank you.
Okay,
No
don't let me
problem.
do that with the Haftarah. Yell at me if I start. Okay? Okay. Okay, that said, let's see. We're going to turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. Our Misha Berach is on page 371 in the middle of the page. If you are on Zoom, you can add names in the chat for anyone you're praying for healing for. And everyone will also have an opportunity to add names out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing today Dan Sasher, Ira Weiss, Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Joellen Fox, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Sarah Ratliff, Kenny Schweiger, Paul Gold, Leslie Hirsch, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Barbara Weiner, Joan Lifshitz, Ellen Greenberg, Genevieve Lightfoot, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Jonathan Falkowski, Martha and Ed Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Vicky Lightnaker, Nettie Trummer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Monica Bayer, Erwin and Patty Cohen, Deborah Kosman, Jeffrey Schwimmer, Grace Schneider, Liz Yasuda, Mark and Paul Steiner, Celia Karp, Anne-Marie Rogan, Marion Mandel, Sharon Zinn, Nicole Moskowitz, Evelyn Sten, Stephen Belay, Deborah Marcus, Mike Wenzelberg, David Wyckoff, Joseph Mondano Sr., Linda and Howard Simca, Michelle Bracco, Ron Affronti, Rita Clark, Daniel Gurka, Jeremy Briel, Laura Castellano, Karen Vanderhorn, Stephen Rosen, Arlene Ribler, Gabriel Weisenthal, Elliot Drucker, Rosie and Luis Rios, Albert Galantner, Zita Novick, Evelyn Amaya, Fred Siegel, Ken Brown, Katie Pandolfo, Maxwell Pandolfo. Freema?
Ross Spicer, Deborah Kelly, Martin Bennett, Phyllis O'Neill, Stacy Schneier, Arlene and Stephen Schneier, Alan Mandel, Elliot Drucker, Kathy's brother Gabby, and Hassan Demir. Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom have names they would like to add? Folks in the room? Mike? Alan?
Althea Fogel.
Thank you, Deanna.
Thank you.
We also include Augustine Davis, Damian Colon, Jerome Taylor, Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Jimmy Jenkins, Chanel Camabatch, Juliette Dale, Maureen Dale, Elena RM, Warren Feliz, Sylvia Solva, DeAndre Wynn, Jennifer Magoob, Sarah West, Tamia Bethia Williams, Joan Marie Pandolfo Cortez, Susan Bilecki, Heidi Newmark, Pat Flood, Cindy Rabinowitz, Ann Kelly, Joan Lifshitz, Dr. Craig Rosenbaum, Roz Nadell, Amy Langer, George Ridler, Jesse Laban, Delphine Wolf, Joy Ojan, Merle Paisley, Kinta Gaskin, Mary Melman, Stacy and David Mauser, Hannah Paynes, Arlene Kakulis, Judith Weiss, Angela Reed, Olive Zelling, Dr. Helen Kramer, Helen Samuels, Ernest Tornincasa, Harriet Holtzman, Ian Levitt, Delia, Anita, Lois, Karen, Richard, Danny, Sam, Dan, Laura Cricky, Susan and Tony Vi, Jeannie Green, Laney and Larry Vinico, Zizi Potsdam, Estelle Altork, Janet Dankowitz. Anyone I missed? We include also all of those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, those suffering from COVID-19, and those who have been harmed in recent disasters, whether human created, including those impacted in East Palestine, as Alan mentioned, and those being harmed in wars or terror attacks, and also those who are being impacted by natural disasters at this time, including the terrible earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And I see also Althea Fogel for our list. Page 371 in the middle of the page.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberachim otenu v'kol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
If you're able, I'd like to invite you to rise to honor the Torah.
Bezot HaTorah she'sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. I've been thinking a lot about Israel lately, even before I was planning to go there because of everything that's going on there right now. As many of you know, I'm leaving late Wednesday night and will have a few personal days in Tel Aviv. And then I'll travel on to Jerusalem to meet the rest of the delegation of rabbis from New York assembled by UJA Federation. We will meet with officials and learn more about what's going on there. I know that in our congregation, people have a variety of feelings toward Israel. Some don't feel particularly connected to Israel at all, while others feel very much that it is the Jewish homeland and therefore their homeland. Some support Israel, and for them, that means not criticizing, while others support Israel and feel that it's important to criticize actions of the government that they don't agree with. And some in our congregation don't think much about Israel at all. And all of those are legitimate positions. In this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, we read the instructions for making the garments for the high priest to wear when he carries out his duties in the tabernacle, the portable sanctuary that the Israelites will carry with them through the wilderness. Among the details are some precious stones. We read, "Then take 2 lazuli stones and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names on the one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone in the order of their birth. On the 2 stones you shall make seal engravings, the work of a lapidary, of the names of the sons of Israel. Having bordered them with frames of gold, attach the 2 stones to the shoulder pieces of the ephod as stones for remembrance of the Israeli people, whose names Aaron shall carry upon his 2 shoulder pieces for remembrance before Adonai." And just afterward, there are instructions for the breastplate that the high priest will wear, including this: "Set in it mounted stones in 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a row of carnelian, chrysolite, and emerald. The second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and an amethyst. The third row, a jacinth, an agate, and a crystal. And the fourth row, a beryl, a lapis lazuli, and a jasper. They shall be framed with gold in their mountings. The stones shall correspond in number to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 corresponding to their names. They shall be engraved like seals, each with its name for the 12 tribes. Aaron shall carry the names of the sons of Israel on the breastpiece of decision over his heart when he enters the sanctuary for remembrance before Adonai at all times." The Torah is explicit that the names of all of the tribes of Israel will be carried on the shoulders and over the heart of the high priest as he carries out service to God on their behalf. Now, the Israelites and later the Jews have never really been unified, maybe for tiny little bits of time. We see conflicts between tribes already in the Bible. The War of the Maccabees, out of which our holiday of Hanukkah emerged, was not just a war between the Jews and the Syrian Greeks, but was also a civil war among the Jews. Not among the tribes, but among those who had different ideas of how to practice Judaism. In the 1st century CE, the religious sects of the Pharisees and the Sadducees were in conflict. In spite of this, the entire nation is represented on the shoulders and over the heart of the high priest. We are bound together there on the person who stands before God on all of our behalf. Today, we are still divided. Many American Jews feel that Israeli Jews are very different from and have little to do with them. Many Israeli Jews feel that Jews outside the land of Israel shouldn't have much to say about what goes on there. That should be for those who live there to decide. And certainly there are divisions, sometimes unfriendly, among different groups in the Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox Jewish world, and between Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox Jews and Reform and conservative Jews. What then does it mean to us today that the high priest carried the names of all the tribes on his shoulders and over his heart? None of us is the high priest. But there's an interesting teaching from Rabbi David Seidenberg, who brings our attention to a passage from the Talmud. The Talmud teaches that eating food without saying a bracha, a blessing, beforehand is like stealing. A lot of people know that teaching, and it's deep. But here's an even deeper part, he says. The Talmud doesn't call it stealing, gineva, but me'ila, which means improperly taking or using sacred property that belongs to the temple and the priests. That implies that everything in the world is sacred and that this creation is like a holy temple. He goes on to say, if the prohibition of me'ila means you can't use property that's sanctified, that's because sanctified property should be used for a sacred purpose, and it should be used by the priests. So how does saying a bracha over food change its status so that you can eat it? And what is the status that the bracha is changing? There are two possibilities. It turns the food from something sacred that's just for priests into something that's no longer sacred and can therefore be used by an ordinary person. Or it turns the person from an ordinary person into a priest when they say the bracha, the blessing, and then they can partake of that which is sacred, that which is holy. He believes that it means the latter. By saying a blessing before we eat or before we take in any pleasure that has a blessing, we become like priests, preparing ourselves to administer to creation. And that means we take on an awesome responsibility that we should act not just for our own sakes, but for the sake of all people and all beings. That's the role of the priest in the temple. So if that's true, when we say a bracha, a blessing, we become like priests. And if we are like the high priest, then we too carry the whole of Israel on our shoulders and over our hearts, in whatever way we might choose to relate to that. And Rabbi Seidenberg expands that responsibility from just the Jewish people to all of the world. And either way, it's a heavy thing to contemplate. In Israel now, hundreds of thousands of people, well, not at this exact moment, they don't do it on Shabbat, but tomorrow night, at the end of their day, they will be taking to the streets for demonstrations against proposed changes to the judiciary system there, which they have been doing already for weeks. And in fact, part of my planning has to take into account that they close highways. They close the big highway that goes into Tel Aviv from Jerusalem as part of the demonstrations. And the demonstrations are across the political spectrum from left to right. At the same time, there has been an increase in terrorist violence by Palestinians and retaliation by Israelis, including the murder of two Israeli brothers, followed by a mob attack on a village in the West Bank. And the settlers in the mob, in what is being called by some a pogrom, set fire to up to 100 cars and at least one house and killed a Palestinian man. Many Israelis are worried that the changes the current government wants to push through will seriously damage Israel's democracy. Some people who don't usually offer opinions publicly about Israeli politics are doing so now, both in Israel and outside of Israel, out of their deep concern. To me, it is important that Israel, the only Jewish nation in the world, acts justly and maintains a strong democracy. Even when I didn't feel a strong connection to Israel, which I didn't for a long time, and which changed only 6 years ago, I felt that as a Jew, what happened in Israel impacted me differently than what happened in France or China or other countries. The high priest carried the names of all the tribes on his shoulders and over his heart. whether they were getting along with each other or not, whether they agreed with each other or not. In front of God, we are one people. Let us seek justice for all of us. Let us seek common ground where we can. May we appreciate the complexity of what it means to be a people, and may we consider what our responsibility is as part of this people. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
And here's a little pre-Purim song by Debbie Friedman. Now we can sing a song of freedom after all is said and done. We can sing a song of freedom, sing a song for peace. Now we can sing a song of freedom after all is said and done. We can sing a song of freedom, sing a song for peace. Our world's full of humans who want to oppress any people who might have ideas of their own. We must never fear what we know to be right, knowing sometime we might have to stand all alone. Now we can sing a song of freedom after all is said and done. We can sing a song of freedom, sing a song for peace. I know you've heard the whole story. You know that the truth of the matter is that we will survive. We must always remember the power of a people is the Torah that binds us and keeps us alive. Now we can sing a song of freedom after all is said and done. We can sing a song of freedom, sing a song for peace.
We turn now to our Haftarah in the Plaut commentary. It is on page 719. And it's my pleasure to invite Ron Schweiger to do the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher borcha b'nisim tovim v'rotzah v'toram v'necharim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'masher avdo u'Yisrael amo u'vanim nieh nehema v'tzodech. Tzedek.
Amen. And I would like to invite Mary Lou Cricky, right, to read from the Haftarah for us.
Now you, O mortal, describe the temple to the house of Israel, and let them measure its design, but let them be ashamed of their iniquities. When they are ashamed of all they have done, make known to them the plan of the temple and its layout, its exits and entrances, its entire plan, and all the laws and instructions pertaining to its entire plan. Write it down before their eyes, that they may faithfully follow its entire plan and all its laws. Such are the instructions for the temple on top of the mountain. The entire area of its enclosure shall be most holy. Thus far, the instructions for the temple.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Ron,
Thank
the
you.
blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kol ha'olamim tzaddik b'chol hadorot ha'el haneman ha'omer oseh ha'medaber ומקיים שכל דהרב אמר בצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתרה לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה, ולמנחה לכבוד ולפרט. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך ויתברך שמך לפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
Amen. We are going to return the Torah to the ark. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
הודו על הארץ ושמיים וירם קרן לעמו תהילה לכל חסידיו לבני ישראל עם קרובו הללויה עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה בתומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכינם וכל נתיבותיך שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם. Short.
We continue with the Aleinu beginning on page 586 at the top of the page.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, עתיד גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונעמה וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I'm sharing our yahrzeit list to the screen. Those of you who are here in the room have that list in your yellow bulletin. If you're on Zoom and have names to add for the Mourners Kaddish, please put them in the chat, or everyone will get a chance also to say names out loud. Elliot Wolfsey's funeral will be on Sunday. I don't know yet what time. The funeral service will be on Sunday and the burial on Monday. I am going to be performing both of them. And we will include him in our mourner's cottage starting next week after he's been buried. We remember also those who have died in the past year: Carol Davis, Jerry Prezioso, Charles Dentrone, Murray Schechter, John Honan, Dottie Weiss to Bickman, Harold Shepard Jr., Eva Braxmajor, Madeline Hyatt, Ed Friedman, Ronald Homan, Erwin Bernstein, Shirley Amrani, Harry Goldberg, Lisa Friedman, Eleanor Teplitz, Patricia Christensen, Thea Platt Glasser, Sharon Cooper, William Fritz, Bernard Cohen, Lucy Palazzolo, Blair Ford, Shlomo Nakash, Arlene Scher, Abraham Finkel, Ron Cricky, Mimi Karp, Rochelle Rolnick, Elaine Drucker, Matthew Brunner, Maddie Rosenbaum, Myron Jacobson, Lester Schenker, and John Belay. On our yahrzeit list this for the coming week are included Fanny Ebert, Sarah West's aunt, Samuel Greenwald, Ruth Levine's grandfather, Lillian Hollander, Stan Hollander's mother, Molly Kantrowitz, Joyce Kantrowitz's mother-in-law, Bertha Kuras, Marcia Kaplan-Mann's grandmother, Hyman Kuras, Marcia Kaplan-Mann's grandfather, Bessie Leopold, Shirley Spivak's aunt, Maria Frankaville Lipton, Paul Lipton's wife, Michael Mann, Marcia Kaplan-Mann's husband, Fanny Migdal, Diane Schenker's mother, Meyer Reich, Dorothy Goldberg's father, Rebecca Schoenberg, Martin Morowitz's grandmother, Angie Shuneman, Evelyn Shuneman's mother, Fred Shuneman, Evelyn Shuneman's father, and Bernard Smith, Scott Smith's father. Paul Markowitz, George Politis, and Belle Radum. Charlotte?
I just wanted to mention on the yahrzeit list Lillian Dreisman.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? Folks in the room? Alan? Eric? David Haley Goldbrenner, Ben Yeruchim Simcha. We include also all of those who have died from COVID-19 and who have died from other causes, whether war, famine, terror, or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. The Mourner's Cottage is on page 598. I invite you, if you're able, to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah miborach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar v'yit alev v'yit halal shemei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
A few announcements before we conclude. Tomorrow morning, we have a different schedule than usual. Services will begin at 10 a.m. That's Shabbat services with Ben Westbrook's Bar Mitzvah. That will be on Zoom and in person, starting at 10 a.m. There will not be B'yachad tomorrow. At 11:30 a.m. or whenever the service ends and we make the transition, we're going to transition to our family Megillah reading. It's going to be silly and raucous. It will not be on Zoom because we want the kids to participate, and it's going to be really hard to do that in such a way that people on Zoom can hear it. But that's okay, because on Monday at 7:15, we will have our Purim spiel and more adult-oriented Megillah reading, but still abbreviated. And that will be on Zoom and in person. So you will have the opportunity to participate, or at least to be there on Zoom on Monday. But to go back to tomorrow, after the family Megillah reading at roughly, I want to say, what did I say before? 12:30. Yeah, roughly 12:30 to 2. We will have our Purim Carnival, first time since the pandemic started, I think, downstairs in the function room. There are games, there are treats, there are prizes. It should be lots of fun. Oh, also on Monday for the Purim Spiel and Megillah reading, if you are coming in person and you would like to share Hamantashen, you can do that. Please bag up your Hamantashen, 3 to 5 per bag. Bring them along, and there's a sign up for that that I think was sent in an email. Although I'm sure if you just brought some bags of Hamantashen, people would be happy to take them. We do have Torah study on Thursdays, but not next Thursday or the following Thursday because I'll be in Israel. We do have Tat Shabbat at 10 o'clock on Fridays, but not next Friday or the following Friday because I'll be in Israel, or I will have just returned early in the morning. However, on Thursday evening at 7:30, there's Israeli dance in the synagogue in person. Portable Crafts is on Saturday, March 11th. This is really fun. I did it the last time. Unfortunately, I can't this time, and you know why. But it's from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the community room. Bring your craft, bring a snack or lunch, share a snack with other people. And, chit chat and do your craft. Reminder of our gala luncheon honoring past and present treasurers, Helene Smith and Jennifer Tattenbaum, 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, June 11th at Gargiulo's. Reservation forms and journal ad forms have been emailed to you now approximately 5 times, and paper copies are in the lobby. There's going to be a fundraiser on May 20th. The Regina Opera Company is presenting the student prince at Our Lady of Perpetual Help on 6th Avenue in Brooklyn. So check your email and stuff for that. I also want to add that on the 17th of March, which I will have just come back from Israel that very day, but it's Women's History Month now. And so we're going to have a service where all the music is by Debbie Friedman, who was a woman. And I'll do some additional readings like we did for Black History Month, except for Women's History Month, which should be quite lovely. Alan. So Sunday, March 12th, Ron Schweiger will be delivering a lecture for Brotherhood on the history of the village of Flatbush. Michael Rose.
Thank you, Ellen. I was just gonna,
Yes, I will say something about the service schedule for next weekend. Next weekend, Friday night, services will be on Zoom only, and there will be no poetry text study because I'm away. Saturday morning services will be in person and on Zoom, and they'll be lay led. And then I'll be back for the following Shabbat. Any other announcements? Seeing none. We are going to close on page 673 with a Purim song, Utsu Etza. Do I have it? I sadly don't have it in the prayer book. I apologize. You'll just have to, I'm sorry.
Utsu Etza ve'tufa, dabru dava ve'lo yakum. Utsu Etza ve'tufa, dabru dava ve'lo yakum ki imanu el. Utsu Etza ve'tufa, dabru dava ve'lo yakum ki imanu el.
If you're able, I invite you to rise. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face towards you and give you peace. Amen. And before we go over to the community room, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Thank you to Alan
Shabbat
Zaro and
Travel safely,
Helene
Rabbi.
and Eric Platt, and to Judith, who was ready to have an honor, except for I denied her by accident, and Mary Lou and Ron Schweiger. Thank you to everybody who had honors. Thank you, Diane, for finding people to do the honors. All errors were mine. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Travel safely.
Oh, thank you, Michael Tornick, and cantorial soloist Noni Schuster Donato.
Shabbat shalom. How are you doing?